Alright, we are back. And I think this is a good opportunity to have a quick peek before we continue. Waypoint, HUD, sent by screen mode. What is it? Immediate or informative? Wait until the hint text has been displayed for the required amount of time before automatically continuing into the game. Automatically start the game when ready. Gauntlet runs quick time events. Turn this feature on to use a second controller with mirrored controls. Okay, that's a bit weird. Okay, it doesn't look like it has anything that lets me adjust it to not show hints or to cut down hint frequency or something. Okay, then I guess that's just where we'll continue. All right. Is there anything we can scan from up here? Weak versus acid. And that blue stuff, whatever that was. Grimhorn. That's a bit of a spoiler, I guess. Purge water. That's what I was thinking of. Let's see. Do we have a bow that does purge water or anything? I think we recently got something. Or was that just an option we were giving? No, I guess we don't have it. So I guess we'll be relying on acid here.
That dome of light. Is it protecting the machine?
Yeah. There should be a node I can override nearby to shut it down.
So that's basically a bit the cauldron tutorial now.
Intrusion detected. Deploying G-Mark 1.
Here we go. I'm sorry, spotted.
Dang it. Hey.
I can take this one.
I was just running out of the way.
We'll take care of them, Aloy. Then I'll get the big guy.
What did I want? Right, I wanted to craft some more traps and maybe place them.
Got him in my sights.
Oh, I don't think that'll help much.
If I can detach them, I can use them against it.
Come on.
Stay with me, Aloy!
Uh-oh.
I can keep going.
Come on. Run, Aloy, run. You can do this. That's what I'm trying to. Why is it stopping? Seriously, game? Bugging on a revive?
Dishonor the land gods!
Okay, let's see. I think we had acid traps somewhere, didn't we? Yes. Ugh. Seriously? Jesus. Oh, and I could probably try and use an overdraw potion. If we still have one, doesn't look like it. No. Oh, but you're full myth. Ah! Wait. I need to craft arrows. Okay. Uh-oh. And I don't have healing.
Glad I had this.
This might be a little more difficult than I thought.
I'm all right, I think.
Okay. Where is the big guy?
Now, finish it.
Need more.
That was close. Come on.
Do you need ammo?
Okay. I don't think we'll be reviving anyone. Seriously. I'm out of health potions. It's almost saying health potions. Ah, here's my overdraw potion. Okay. Damn it. Where did the big guy even go?
Something wrong, Aloy?
Did the big guy die?
It's down.
Okay. Dead. Oh, the big guy is still there. I don't know where that went off.
We have to get down there.
Is there anything I can craft? Stamina potion. Not enough room in your potion pouch. What is the rule? 3 potions? Do I maybe have a skill that I can unlock? Food duration, resilient, nimble crafter. Where is, here is potions. Valor on impact, potion proficiency. Low health regen, potent medicine. Okay, I don't have enough points for any of these. I guess I could see if I have armor that is stronger. And maybe fire. Nora anointed. Augment ranged combat. For stealthy hunting. Yeah, I'm mostly on stealth, sadly. So I don't think... Let's see, can we maybe equip a different weave here? Let's increases defense against purge water, acid, melee defense, fire defense. That might be helpful. And I guess ranged defense, 5% is probably the highest we have. Plasma defense, melee defense, ranged defense 5. Let's see if that helps a little bit. I think... Oh, and I should probably try to sneak away onto this post, see if that
dome of light.
helps
Is
a
it
little.
protecting the machine?
Yeah. There should be a node I can override nearby to shut it down.
Intrusion detected. Deploying Mark 1.
Here we go. I'm sorry, Fa.
Maybe we can weaken it with acid. It's corroding itself.
More machines are coming!
We'll take care of him, Aloy. And I'll get the big guy.
For the sacred land!
Okay, at least we're farther away. Okay. I guess you can take down the pole.
Machine's got heavy weapons in the back. If I can detach them, I can use them against it.
We could probably, let's see if the smoke bomb works up here as well. And now that's the wrong bow. Inventory. I want the fire. Oh, fire hunter bow I have. And that has more tear. Strong arm hunter bow. Or just hunter bow. Or maybe the sharp shot bow. Let's try that one. those? Oh, those are knockdown arrows. I wanted tear arrows, really.
Shock attack, heard it!
So let's see. Oh, okay.
Take them out!
Again, being sneaky. But that seems to be, in general, yeah, we took one off. Got it. Ooh. So the trick is simply to cheese it.
Mourning a machine that nearly killed us?
It's still her god.
I do not grieve for a god or a machine, but because I no longer know what to believe.
Look, so if you want, you can go back home.
Do I still have one? And if so, for how long? Can you really heal our lands? Save my people?
Maybe we can.
One step at a time. But it starts now.
But the thing is, this can repair machines, so maybe it can repair far?
Identify destroyer of
Not this time, Hephaestus!
to compensate. Retreating. Nothing is inevitable.
Not bad.
Up we go.
There's more.
Like Aloy said, this is only the beginning.
Alright. I hope I can detach that charge cable now.
My focus is showing holograms on it.
They look like machines.
They must be overrides. Knowledge on how to tame machines.
And you can learn this?
Let's find out. Looks like Hephaestus has been upgrading the security grid on the cauldrons. Some of the data's been corrupted. Not sure I can do much about that right now. And my focus doesn't recognize some of these. Must be machines I haven't seen yet.
Got what you need?
Yes.
Let's press on then.
First, let us loot your god. Yoink. Anything else? Well, that's actually surprising how little damage we took the second try. By cheesing it with the smoke bombs and the poles. But first, let's loot everything here, because who knows when we'll be getting more next. Okay. Full on health again. That's nice. But I guess that's the thing that annoys some people in this game, is that the boss battles often...
Greetings, graduates of Cradle 9. Welcome to the regional... Error. Unauthorized access detected.
That doesn't sound good.
Was that the spirit? Minerva?
I don't think so. At least, not directly.
Okay, I think we've looted... Oh no, there's one. Ah, that was ammo. There's the others. Nice work. The NPCs are actually pulling their weight. Oh, and we have 4 skill points. So does that mean we can unlock something here? Gain valor while hit. Potent medicine, provide more healing and heal you faster. Definitely what we want. And what is this? Potions provide more healing and all potions are faster to consume. That's also nice. Okay. And let's see if we want to craft anything. Okay. Cleanse potion, medium health potion. Stamina potion. It seems like we can do 2 red ones and 1 blue. Yeah, okay, we have those. Okay, yeah, right. We died after we used those, so I guess we're good. Okay, so let's see where the story leads us. Okay, that looks a lot more old-fashioned than the other cauldrons. Like, most of the cauldrons, I guess that's the difference, that this room looks like a computer room set up by humans. And most of the cauldrons looked like something Gaia built. Like, it's more fashionable, and it's not really designed for humans as much. Okay, but this looks like it's an existing human installation. Like maybe this was the first cauldron?
Attention. All personnel must vacate the facility immediately.
Something doesn't want us here. What exactly was this place?
Seen anything like it before?
No.
Repair bay.
There. That's our way out.
Come on, is there no... I kind of hoped... Huh.
Error. access. Initiating facility lockdown. Stay out.
What's going on?
Well, at least the emergency lights work.
What just happened?
Minerva's definitely here. And I think it's trying to keep us out. I'll scout ahead, see if there's a way to get us in.
You sure we shouldn't come with you?
Well, yeah, Minerva could be dangerous. Let me make sure it's safe.
Okay.
We'll be right here if you need us.
Okay, I guess that was an elevator. Huh. Okay, down is not the direction that gives us anything. So let's see if we
Doing
can
okay,
go.
Zoe?
All this. Minerva. Hephaestus. Gaia. This is what will help heal Plainsong?
It's hard to explain. I mean, I barely understand it, but yeah. It's what Aloy's been looking for this whole time.
Okay, what else?
Okay, I need to find where Minerva's hiding. I should look for a way to access the facility systems.
That looks more like an old facility. Yeah. It's interesting that because like the other cauldrons never had that.
Alert. Restricted access. You are not wanted here.
Nope, sorry. You're not getting rid of me that easily, Minerva.
Okay, here we can pull out some
What are all those
things.
cables in the center for? Minerva's shutting me out.
Oh, okay. Locking the doors.
Looks like those cables connect to something above. Seems promising, if I can find a way up there.
Yeah, okay. That looks good. But before we do that, let's see. Okay, that won't open. And this. Okay. So that was just for decoration, so it looks larger. And yeah,
Looks
I
like
know.
This might be where data's stored, but
how
I
lewd.
don't see a way to access the system. I better keep looking. Guess I'm not going that way.
Okay, so all those doors are locked. It's locked, alright.
Let's see where this leads.
Okay. Let's see, let's go this one first. Wow, the chests in the air vents.
Dead end.
That kind of makes no sense. Apart from, you know, the game being nice and giving you loot for a dead end. It would have been kind of nice if there was a machine for something like that, you know? So Oh, let me quickly get a charge cable into the iPad that I forgot to connect. Alright. Happy now? Yeah, okay. It's charging again. Let's charge again like we did last summer. Alright, yeah, it would be funny if the resource crates were actually something completely different. You know, like computers or something, you know, and that they just went, oh, it's a box you can open and there's useful machine parts in there, and, you know, maybe a dead rat or something.
I can feel a draft above. Might be a way out of this shaft.
Okay, so let's... Well, that doesn't look too good. Ah, but it's green shine. Okay, what's this?
Looks like another part of the facility. Door's locked.
Okay. That's kind of cool. And I guess
I'm
no...
getting through that door right now. I should turn back, see what else I can find.
I guess that's my exit or something like that. Oh, there's a console here. Restore power to access. Oops, and what is that? Okay.
Door needs a code. Not much I can do about it right now. But I should keep an eye out for any data in the facility that can help. I guess I should go back.
Alright. We found something interesting, I guess. Oh.
And I'm outside. I need to find a way back into the facility. Maybe I could look for a way in higher up the mountain.
Okay, let's see if there's anything up here. Oh.
I'm close. If I can get Minerva to cooperate, I can merge it with Gaia. Finally bring her back. And we can start fixing the blight, the storms, and maybe she can help me figure out who those strangers in the proving lab were. Why did they have a clone of Elizabeth? Why did they want it back up?
I'm still not quite understanding why that place was called Proving Lab. Like, the only occasion where I, you know, saw that name was when Aloy at the end called it that. So I guess over there. Yeah. Okay, and now? Ah, here's a climby bit on the wall. If I didn't have that turned on, it would be really annoying to constantly have to scan the walls
There's Plainsong. I hope the Utaru are doing okay after the attack.
Okay.
Some of those rocks look loose. I think I can clear them.
Okay. Is it... Oh, it's just pry open. Okay.
Aha. Another shaft.
Oh my, how lewd.
Alright, let's go and find out what's in here. Here, they even have this shiny cone. You know, so why couldn't they just kind of use that, maybe with a slightly different effect, so it's clear that it's real, for the flashlight? I don't know, maybe they tried it and it was too annoying.
Okay, now I've got to find a way to plug into this place.
Can I not? No, invisible wall. Okay. So how do I... Ah.
Looks like some kind of dome. Wonder what it's for.
It's the Thunder Dome. It makes thunder. Let's see what's in here. But I guess we're on the roof of the dome. The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let's... Oh wow. That kind of looks like that other location.
Alert. System core penetrated.
No!
So it's probably...
Minerva? I need the console. Please.
Access denied.
It didn't used to be like this. Do you remember it? Anything? You were part of something bigger once. Something good. Gaia. That's right. She can live again. But only if you give her the chance. I can't reboot her without you.
Will I cease?
I think you'll disappear into her. Become part of her. Like you used to be.
Misery will cease.
Yes.
Oh, it's the Captain Kirk tactic.
Thank you. Thank you, Minerva. Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master override activated. Restoring Minerva function to original code. Do you wish to initiate heuristic matrix?
Here goes.
Greetings, Dr. Sobek. A
I'm...
moment. Scanning data.
She has records.
So it is Aloy, not Elizabeth. We have much to discuss, but initialization of my heuristic matrix will not be complete for several minutes more. In the meantime, I suggest you familiarize yourself with this facility. It is our best option for a base of operations, and you can make use of its equipment to improve your ability to override machines.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
Shall I grant access to your companions? They will be here shortly.
Okay, but don't overwhelm them, okay? They don't have a lot of experience with things like, well, you.
So no fake this time?
No. This time she's real. Varl, Zoe. This is Gaia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Gaia's still, waking up. Let's look around.
I will highlight the location of the lab on your focus. I have established a network between your focuses, allowing you to communicate when apart.
Good. So what was this place?
A regional control center, where Zero Dawn progeny would have overseen terraforming operations in the area. I suggest you explore this facility, Aloy, until my initialization is complete.
So I have a sinking feeling. You know, excuse me. You know that when we picked up this copy of Gaia, it said that there were two, and we picked one up, and the other Aloy, well, the other Elizabeth clone, picked one up. And so I'm wondering, you know, if this is we getting some information from Gaia, and then she gets destroyed, and then we need to fight the other guys for their copy of Gaia to restore the world. It's either that, or we're getting good Gaia, bad Gaia, duking it out at the end.
What's all this?
This was intended as the main gathering space for control center operatives.
You could fit a good number of people in here.
Or maybe just a few, to start with. You two go ahead. I'm going to poke around a bit.
Looks like an office.
Correct. The facility was designed with a number of private offices.
I guess it's nice to have a space to call your own.
The whole thing about descendants of Zero Dawn also makes me uncomfortable.
Through that door is a trail that leads towards Plainsong.
So I could head back east if I need to, once we're done here.
Correct.
I wonder if we get to keep this base
place
of
was here all this
operations.
time. Built for people who would never show up.
Why didn't they?
Remember that guy I told you about? Ted Farrow? He sabotaged things. It wasn't supposed to be this way.
Ah, okay. So descendants of Zero Dawn then meant people like Rost
Oh, I've been down here before.
and
It's where I
Val.
first got into the facility.
What's all this stuff for?
This facility was designed to process an immense amount of data from the terraforming system. This is where it would have been stored.
Guess I'll wait here.
What did I want to say? So that means people like Rost and Aloy, not... Okay, we still can't get in there because we still don't have the code. Okay. Like Rost, not Aloy, like Rost and Vala and all the others. So if
There
if
you are.
Apollo
Should we keep looking around?
hadn't been sabotaged, they would have been taught, and then they would have been able to use this.
Hey, Gaia? Why doesn't this door have power?
At my current operating level, I am only able to restore functionality to part of this facility. In time, that may change.
Got it.
Okay. The usual progressive.
Looks like some kind of storage room.
You get some extra rooms, you get some extra revelations. Okay. I somehow swallowed a piece of a peanut wrong, and I think so apologies if I'm coughing.
No good. Door's locked until Gaia can restore access.
Right, so I guess... Oh, let's talk to her first.
It looks like plants could grow here.
Getting ideas?
Perhaps. All this space. And no one was ever here. Why?
It's, a long story.
All right.
Looks like another office.
If no one's ever been here, who built all this?
Gaia did. With the help of machines.
Oh, so this was
So
actually...
this was supposed to be the lab.
That was its intended purpose. Some of the machine data you recovered from the repair bay below us appears to be corrupted. Accessing the terminal in this room will show you how to repair and complete the override.
I'll take a look.
Plowhorn override. Tau. Override available. Override unlocked. An acquisition machine that plows the soil before sowing fertilizer and seed. It leaves a trail of fast-growing plants and a cloud of dust that can be used for stealth. Craft this override. Okay. So we have to craft our overrides now. If we have the machine parts. Plowhorn primary nerve and Plowhorn horn. Okay, so we have to destroy one.
Looks like I need data from machine parts to fix the corrupted override.
My initialization is complete. You may continue to explore the facility, Aloy. When you are ready, return to the control room. We have much to discuss.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That we're now, I guess we're kind of getting technology.
This would have been an access point for advanced training modules on terraforming operations. Unfortunately, those modules were deleted when the Apollo database was destroyed.
That's too bad.
Yep. Someone deleted the teacher. Oh, I guess those are showers? Or something like that?
What's this space for?
This would have been the sleeping quarters for control center operatives. Aloy,
Reminds me of the bedhouse
you
aspirants
have
had
now
to sleep in
visited
the night
all
before the
accessible
proving.
rooms of the facility.
Okay. Those are a bit cramped, I guess. Ah, and these are the bathrooms.
No good. Door's locked until Gaia can restore access.
Okay. There's a little bar or something. I guess that's supposed to be the common area. But okay, so we know that this was built by Gaia for the humans to come. So this is not an old building like the others. And that's the stairwell down. So I guess we're going back up then.
Maybe it's time to talk to Gaia.
I'll leave you to it.
I guess that was a loading tunnel.
Hello, Aloy.
Hi. So you're ready?
Yes. Initialization is complete. All tests show that my heuristic matrix launched correctly and is stable. You must have many questions.
Yeah. But two big ones first.
Ooh. You were wondering whether you knew whether you knew that voice. Turns out she was a narrator in a small VR game. But what the intonation reminded me of was actually a machinima computer voice. So surely not a hired voice actor, just the same effect. Don't start producing new employees in the private office. Okay. You know, I would want to know who the strangers are, really. But I think I'll save that and first ask about the subordinate functions, which is probably, you know, get our missions.
We're not going to be able to fix the biosphere without making you whole. I ran a search for your subfunctions at the Hades Proving Lab, but Minerva was the only one I found.
Thankfully, the sensory capabilities of this facility are far more advanced. I will search for the others now. Transmitting query pattern. Receiving. Of Apollo, Artemis, and Eleuthia, I can find no trace. They are simply gone.
What about the others?
Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon are revealed. They lie within reach, procurable.
And Hephaestus?
It too stands revealed, but it is not like the others.
That's for sure.
In the years since the extinction signal, Hephaestus has evolved. Moreover, it is not confined to a single location. It haunts the global network that connects cauldrons to each other across the planet, making it exceptionally difficult to subdue.
Let me guess. We need it bad?
Correct. Its capabilities are essential. Without it, I can only delay the extinction of life on Earth. Hephaestus is our only hope of a permanent solution.
So we start there?
Unfortunately, we cannot. Procuring Hephaestus can only be attempted after my own capabilities have been significantly enhanced.
Grab the other subordinate functions first, then Hephaestus.
Precisely so.
So, Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon. How do I capture them?
To recover a subordinate function, you will have to travel to its location and find the physical processor to which it escaped. Then, exactly as you did with Minerva, you must use the master override to revert the subordinate function to its original code state.
And then how do I get it back here?
The subordinate function must be loaded onto a data storage device and physically carried back to this facility.
The cartridge your root kernel was stored on?
Yes. Its capacity is limited, so it can only carry one subordinate function at a time. But in all other respects, it will suffice.
All right. So now we know what we're gonna be doing for the next part of the game.
Maybe you can help me make sense of something. A while ago, I had a run-in with a group of strangers who tried to kill me. They had machine servitors and a clone of Elizabeth Sobek with them.
Yes, this was recorded by your focus.
Do you know who they are?
The answer to that question is related to the extinction signal that woke Hades, prompting my predecessor's self-destruction.
The extinction signal? Okay, that sounds ominous.
The signal did not come from Earth, Aloy. The calculations are complicated, but it appears to have originated 81 trillion kilometers away. A distance so vast that light itself requires 8.611 years to cross it.
Okay, so what's so far away and why does it want us dead?
The Sirius star system.
Sirius? But that's where Far Zenith, their ship.
The Odyssey.
Yes, that's where it was headed. But it blew up. Unless... I don't... Why make it seem like they failed? They didn't want anyone to know. They didn't want future humans to think that they were out there. Wait. The strangers who tried to kill me at the Hades Proving Lab? The ones with the clone? Are you saying that they're from... that they're descendants of... Far Zenith?
Yes, that is my conclusion.
Okay, that's a bit... it's a bit hand-wavy. Like, we know they didn't want to take certain people along and things like that. So, you know, that makes sense, but it was kind of... Like, story-wise, I would have liked a few hints indicating that maybe there was something more going on, you know? At least, you know, ugh. Okay, now it stopped. Okay. I was just about to say, someone started something out there. But I guess it was just some wheels or something going over the tiles. Anyway, it would have been nice if there had at least been mention of something like, oh, we think someone sabotaged it or something, you know? Not just an accident. So that you had an idea that that explosion was kind of weird, you know, that there was something not right about it. And then saying, oh yeah, they blew up something to make it look like the spaceship had failed would have been nice.
The 3 subordinate functions that you detected. What do we know about them?
All 3 are relevant to problems currently plaguing the biosphere. Ether is responsible for detoxifying the atmosphere and moderating the weather. Poseidon controls the organic and chemical composition of water resources. Demeter sows, fertilizes, and tends to plant life. If all 3 were restored to me, they would constitute a massive increase to my heuristic processing density. But beware. Their responses to my query pattern were irregular. In human terms, they are frightened, lost, and paranoid.
Like Minerva. They need to be whole again.
Exactly.
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Farrow.
Pharaoh, huh? I really hate that guy.
Understandable. He appears to have been pathologically narcissistic, impulsive, and unstable.
All 3 of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
If attainable, yes. Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density. Unfortunately, I have no way to track them. They have disappeared without a trace.
You said you need Hephaestus to save life from extinction. Why?
Every subordinate function has value, but Hephaestus is by far the most important. Only by recovering and merging it can I regain my ability to design and mass-produce new machines at cauldrons across the planet. Only through it can I program new machines and alter the tasking of existing machines to completely reverse environmental damage. Recovering other subordinate functions may buy us time, but without Hephaestus, I cannot permanently stave off mass extinction.
Given Hephaestus's importance, is there really no way to capture and merge it first?
I'm afraid that is quite impossible. In my present state, launched and merged with Minerva, I am operating at less than 1/5, 18.8%, of my intended processing capacity. Hephaestus dwarfs this figure. Were an attempt made to conduct the merge under these circumstances, Hephaestus would absorb me, rather than the other way around. A merge cannot be attempted until my heuristic processing density exceeds its own.
And how many subordinate functions is that going to take?
Merging Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon will expand my heuristic network to 41.6% capacity, exceeding that of Hephaestus.
You said Hephaestus isn't located in just one place.
Correct. Unlike the other subordinate functions, which are confined to discrete physical processors, Hephaestus is distributed throughout the global network that connects the planet's cauldrons.
So, when the time comes to subdue it, how do we make that happen?
I do not know. While you are retrieving the procurable subordinate functions, I will attempt to find a solution.
So, once Hephaestus has been recovered and merged, you'll regain the capacity to mass-produce machines at cauldrons around the world.
Yes, and to program their behavioral routines, or even control them directly.
So could you build an army of machines? Attack the descendants of Far Zenith and take them out?
It is in my nature to take any and all necessary steps to preserve life on Earth, human life above all. So yes, once I have been empowered with the capacities of Hephaestus, I could design, build, and command such an army. Given the nature of the Far Zenith threat, doing so may be our only option. I must admit, however, that I have misgivings about using such technology to kill, no matter how aggressive the enemy.
That's good. It means you have a conscience. As Elizabeth intended.
Indeed.
The sole purpose of the signal was to destroy life on Earth, right? Why would descendants of Far Zenith want to do that?
At this point, we can only speculate.
I mean, Earth posed no threat to them. We don't have the technology to get in their way. We didn't even know about them.
True.
Unless... well... could it be that they want the planet for themselves? The strangers I ran into, they were after a Gaia backup of their own. I mean, if they did that... if they booted their own Gaia and boosted her power... until she could take control of Hephaestus. And then the whole terraforming system...
Then yes, the system could be used to do what the extinction signal failed to accomplish. Snuff out life. And then potentially to build an entirely new biosphere, to their specifications.
So they could be trying to do the same thing we are.
But with opposite results.
Extinction, instead of salvation. Well, this is not good. You said Sirius is really far from Earth.
81 trillion kilometers, or 8.611 light years.
Right. So, how would the descendants have gotten here?
On a spacecraft much like the Odyssey, though significantly more advanced. The journey from Earth to Sirius would have taken the Odyssey almost 300 years. This appears to have been much faster. If their ship departed Sirius at the same moment the extinction signal first began transmitting, the journey was made in just 29 years at an average of 0.297 the speed of light. If they did not set out for Earth until they learned of the extinction signal's failure, the journey was even faster, a mere 13 years, or 0.662 the speed of light.
Okay, enough. You're making my head spin. The descendants I ran into at the Hades Proving Lab, they had a clone of Elizabeth Sobek. So that's consistent with the idea that they came here to salvage Zero Dawn technologies, right?
Yes. As your own experience demonstrates, a clone of Elizabeth Sobek functions in effect as a key to the terraforming system.
But how could they have made a clone?
The Odyssey carried approximately 200,000 human zygotes, millions of animal zygotes, and billions of plant seeds. It is conceivable that Elizabeth Sobek's genetic material was sampled, with or without her knowledge, and carried aboard the ship in storage.
That's... okay, but... I mean... This clone... How could she participate in this? Destroying Elizabeth's dream? It's evil.
It is difficult to know. Perhaps she is loyal to the group and shares their objectives. Or perhaps she is a subordinate and has no choice but to comply with their orders.
Elizabeth Sobek? A subordinate? I don't think so. How did you figure out that the extinction signal came from Sirius?
The key came with data on your focus, from Silent's interrogation of Hades. The duration of the signal itself, 17.22 years.
That doesn't make sense. You said that the signal took 8.6 years to arrive from Sirius. Why would the signal keep transmitting after it was received and you blew yourself up?
Because the sender didn't know that had happened until it received notice from Hades.
Which would take another 8.6 years to get back.
Correct. Only then would the sender stop broadcasting, after a total of 17.22 years. So the duration, halved, gave me the distance the signal traveled. With that in mind, I simply scanned my astronomical database for any relevant location 8.6 light-years away. Because it was far Zenith's intended destination, Sirius was the only logical source.
The extinction signal didn't just wake Hades. It made every subordinate function self-aware. Why?
I have wondered this myself. So far as I can tell, Hades was the sole target, and the partial sentience imparted to other subordinate functions was incidental.
So the signal could only have been sent by someone who had thorough knowledge of the system, huh?
Yes. The signal's design was exceptionally precise and highly advanced. Were its intentions less malevolent, I would admire the intellect or intellects that produced it.
So if the descendants came to Earth on a spaceship, I guess we can assume that their technology is powerful in all sorts of ways, right?
Yes. As your encounter with them at the Proving Lab amply demonstrates, they appear to make extensive use of robotic servitors. Further, they seem to be equipped with some kind of protective energy field that shields them from harm.
Yeah, no kidding. The one I fought seemed indestructible.
Throughout history, every defensive technology has eventually been defeated by an offensive counterpart. For example, assuming I absorbed Hephaestus and utilized it to create a large force of combat machines. No shielding could withstand such an assault indefinitely.
So there's hope.
Always.
What is the state of the biosphere? Is the terraforming system functioning at all?
In a sense, the terraforming system never stopped functioning. The difference, since my predecessor's destruction, is that there has been no central governing intelligence to monitor its robotic agents and assign new tasks. As a result, errors have accrued, and day by day, the biosphere has gradually veered ever more sharply towards destruction. In recent months, disturbances in the biosphere have become obvious. But these bellwether phenomena offer just the merest glimpse of the complex and accelerating cycles of environmental dysfunction, now driving Earth's biosphere towards collapse.
And you can't do anything to stop it?
If you can return Ether, Poseidon, and Demeter to me, I can improvise modest corrections to parts of the system. Weather will improve, water will be purified, and rampant plant growth curtailed. But such corrections will not stave off collapse. They will only buy us time. Only with Hephaestus can I design and produce new robotic agents designed to permanently reverse the damage that has accumulated. All efforts must be directed toward that end.
How long do we have then?
At present rates, without additional factors, the biosphere will cross a point of no return in approximately 4 months.
And if I gather Ether, Demeter, Poseidon, merge you with them?
We will only gain a few months more.
Well, every bit counts. I guess I should get going and start bringing back subordinate functions. What can you tell me about their locations?
When my predecessor destroyed herself, the subordinate functions sought physical processors capable of holding them. So in each case you will be looking for a powerful computer of some kind. Ether is the closest, and therefore might be the easiest to acquire. However, it appears to be in the middle of Tanakh territory. My knowledge of that tribe is limited to data I read on your focus, but they seem to have a significant inclination towards violence.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. What about Poseidon and Demeter?
Poseidon has taken shelter in the desert south of this location. My substratal geography data indicates that a major old-world settlement called Las Vegas was located there.
A ruin in the middle of the desert, huh? Strange place for an AI devoted to water.
Agreed. As for Demeter, it appears to be located on the coast to the far west. Unfortunately, I am unable to provide any relevant data about the region. As such, it may be the most difficult to retrieve.
Okay, so 3 subordinate functions to go after. Ether, somewhere in Tanakh territory, Poseidon in the desert, and Demeter on the coast.
Where will you begin?
Alright, that gave us a good chance to let the noises outside die down again. Hephaestus is Volcanus, and they were blacksmiths. Yeah. That too. Hephaestus is a good... I mean, they all, they're Greek gods that they picked to represent their function. Her mouth color looks like inverted, or somehow the light is backwards. Yeah, I think they made her kind of like glow from the inside, which looks a bit weird. Gaia seems smart. We should hire her. Yes. Okay, so it says level 17, 22, and 24, so we have an order to use anyway. So let's follow the order of the levels, I guess.
I think I'll head for Ether.
Then I will assign Ether as the objective on your focus. If you obtain it, I may be able to use it to quell the most severe storms in the region. Though I will require Hephaestus and the control over machines that it offers to permanently stabilize the biosphere. Should you change your mind, you can update your objective via your focus interface at any time. I will also transmit a summary of available data on all of the subordinate functions to you for reference. Is there anything else I can help you with? I know you have a great deal to accomplish.
I do, don't I?
Is something wrong?
I don't know. It's just that Elizabeth set the bar pretty high. She had a dream for you, for life on Earth, and a lot has gone wrong, and it's all on my shoulders to fix it. Do you think I can do it all? Repair the system, defeat Varzenith, live up to her example?
Absolutely. In her last message, my predecessor declared her unwavering conviction in your success. In you, all things are possible. You prevailed in purging Hades and rebooting my system core. You will prevail in this.
Thank you, Gaia. Well, I guess I should get going.
I have unlocked the facility's exits. One leads onward to the west. The other leads back down the mountain to Plainsong, should you wish to return east.
Varl?
Whoa! Gonna have to get used to that. That's you, Aloy?
Yeah. Gaia's opened the exits to this place. Can you and Zoe meet me by the west door?
Be right there.
All right. Established the base. Okay. I kind of like the idea of having a base. We'll see how much it figures into the story. If it's just return here occasionally to hang out with Gaia and finish missions. Or if there's anything more. Oh, what's this? Cyclops console.
Gaia? What is this?
It is a control console for a drone-based imaging system connected to this dome. I will transmit the relevant data to your focus.
Huh. So this Cyclops is a network of drones to monitor the deteriorating biosphere conditions. I guess it was meant to display on the dome, but the drones aren't connected anymore. If I find the drones out in the wilds, I could get the data from them. Use it to reconnect them and restore the display.
Okay, so if we find any drones...
Error. Data missing.
Okay, so I guess that's another collectible that we can find on our way then. Interior decoration DLC when? Yes, yes, please. It's interesting that we're...
I need to bring Ether back for Gaia. Varl and Zoe are waiting for me by the west exit. But I could head back east first. Check on how Plainsong's doing after the attack.
So...
Are you sure?
Yes. I think it'll be better this way.
So I want to go back east, but of course, on the other hand, we should talk to these two.
After you, Aloy.
Oh, we can't talk to you? Okay.
I need to head further west. To, get more of Gaia's components. Make her stronger. You two can stay here in the meantime. And Gaia can help get you up to speed. I'm not trying to shut you out. It's like... training.
Actually, I'm gonna go back east to get Erend. Bring him here. Look, allies, friends can help. We have a place to stay now. And like you said, Gaia can teach us, catch us up. It'll be okay.
Okay. Take these then.
One to wear, one for backup.
While you're at it, stop by Stone's Echo and look for Milu. Give her a message for Talana that I found a way over the mountains.
Will do.
Are you going with him?
No. After what happened in the cave below, I want to stay here a while. There is much I need to understand. Maybe by the time you get back, I'll have a thing or two I can teach you.
Looking forward to it.
When will you be back?
I'm not sure. But hopefully I'll have one of Gaia's missing components with me.
Be careful out there. Even in Plainsong, we heard how the Tenakth clanlands are suffering from storms, machines, and now Regala.
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
Good hunting, Aloy.
The Tenakth clanlands. Somewhere out there's 3 of Gaia's subfunctions. And who knows what else.
Alright. So we've done this. So let's go back in. And see if we can go back.
Oh, Aloy. Your Karja friend came through. She went to that Oseram camp you two were looking for, to the southwest.
Oh. Talana's already made Can I talk to you? Hello? She's basically our receptionist now, so
Aloy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. You sure you're okay being alone in here?
I have Gaia, and learning how to interpret the glyphs of the old ones, it keeps me occupied.
Have you gone back to Plainsong at all?
I thought about it, but I wouldn't know what to tell them. The chorus already thinks me a thorn in the thicket. If they knew what we did to Fa, even if they understood, there'd be little they could grasp about all this. No. For now, I must leave the tribe behind.
Sounds like you met my friend Talana.
Yes. The Karja Huntress. I haven't seen armor like hers since the Red Raids. But Varl tells me that she too suffered at the hands of the Mad Sun King.
Yeah. She's one of the good ones. Trust me. So you've been talking to Gaia?
Yes. She was kind enough to take me through some of the history of the Old Ones, including their demise and the heroic actions of her creator, Elizabeth Sobek. I was surprised to see she was you. Past, but reborn? Not that I claim to understand how.
You mentioned you've been teaching yourself how to read?
Yes. Gaia was kind enough to put together a list of glyphs used by the Old Ones. She helped me decipher some of the data you've collected, and showed me how to use the focus to help the process. It's not easy, but it's been working so far.
That's good to hear.
I'm looking forward to having like some scene where like all her friends show up like riding machines, each one a spear with overrides, each one a focus, you know, and just like saving the day.
Did Gaia tell you anything about Zenith?
She did, though it wasn't exactly easy to believe. To think that there are places among the stars where life can bloom as it does here, it is humbling, to say the least, and heartbreaking, that such life should be bent on destroying ours.
So, how does a tribe like the Utaru manage to maintain the peace with warriors like the Tenakth?
By holding them off. When our fields bloomed aplenty, the Tenakth looked upon our lands with envy. But Plainsong's dishes provided sanctuary and high ground to keep invaders at bay. In the end, even the Tenakth saw sense in a truce. The Utaru promised to provide the Tenakth with food from our crops every year. In exchange, the Tenakth would relinquish one of their own, a veteran, to train the Utaru in combat. This custom was abandoned a few years after the derangement. But some veterans still remain in the plains.
I've been meaning to ask, what's the deal with you and the chorus? You didn't seem to be on the best of terms.
That's what happens when you're the one Utaru who insists on publicly defying them. Twice. When the Karja invaded the Utaru plains, they did more than just attack our villages. They burned our fields, took our people as slaves, and murdered those who were too weak to make the trip back to Meridian.
To be sacrificed in the Sun Ring.
I was helping the healers back then, as waves of refugees swarmed into Plainsong. The chorus was divided in how to face the invaders. Some saw sense in raising arms. Others believed the dishes would keep us safe, as they had many times before. And while they bickered, I buried the seeds of the fallen.
It couldn't have been easy. Seeing your people suffer while the Karja invaded your lands.
I come from a small village near Plainsong. My grandmother used to say there was no seed that wouldn't grow there. I moved to the dishes when I decided to apprentice as a healer. When the Red Raids began, I thought about going back. But the injured kept pouring into Plainsong, day after day. So I kept putting it off. One day, I woke up to hear a Karja raiding party had ransacked my village during the night. I rushed there with the healers to help the survivors, but there weren't any left. The smell of burning flesh haunts me to this day.
I'm sorry, Zoe.
I made it a point to appear before the chorus as soon as we returned, to demand that we take a stand against the invaders. I was denied. So I left to fight on my own.
That's badass. Okay. It also explains why she's the third one to get a focus, or the second one Aloy gave a focus. Like, if she is a great fighter, then that, you know, she's skilled. She's a healer, so she cares about people. But apparently she's also a fighter, so that's a unique asset.
You said you set out to fight the Karja alone?
I did. But it turned out I wasn't the only one. News of my disagreement with the chorus spread through the plains. Before I knew it, I had more than a dozen Utaru warriors ready to follow me into battle. We knew we couldn't take on the Karja armies head-on, but we also knew the lay of the land better than they did. We ambushed smaller raiding parties, sabotaged their supply lines, and hit their encampments at night.
Sounds like you were a force to be reckoned with.
Enough that the Tenakth took notice. When the clans began to push the Karja back east, they let us join their ranks. We chased the enemy all the way to Barren Light.
So she was one of the people who held them back.
You said you were at Barren Light when the Tenakth defeated the Karja?
Tenakth marshals climbed the cliffs of the Daunt under cover of night, then attacked from the other side. Before we knew it, the gates were open, and the full force of the clans burst through. What happened next was not something I like to remember. When all the dust and blood settled, I smelled it again. The stench of burnt flesh. Our enemies defeated. What was left of my squad returned to the Utaru Plains. I went back to Plainsong. But even as the harvest passed, it didn't feel like I'd truly returned at all.
Is that when you became a grave singer?
I thought soothing the suffering of others would somehow appease my own. Then you came along and gave me a choice. I could either sing at people's graves or fight for a chance to keep them alive.
I'm glad you chose the latter.
So here's the thing. We had, what, 3, 4 zeniths? And we had... what's his name? The Elizabeth clone. I think it was 3 and the clone, right? So, so I guess that means the people who have a focus now might end up being the ones in the end equipped to fight them. That might be interesting. Sorry, I'm over-analyzing this game right now. But it's just, it fascinates me. Like, where might they be going? Can I tell from the structure of the story, not just from what they've told me so far? And I mean, we're getting Erend too. So this will be interesting. Whether we'll give Erend a focus too and Talana. And then we'd be 5, but, you know, with less power. Against 3, maybe 4 with more power. And probably a bunch of machines. So this will be interesting.
I need to go, but if you need anything, you can contact me through your focus.
I'll keep that in mind.
Alright, let's see what quests we have left. So Broken Sky is the main quest. Okay, these are all 3 main quests, yeah. Let's see. Don't. We did have one. We have a rebel outpost near Plainsong that we should take. And Cauldron Mew. That would probably be a good place as well. A little over-analysis has never hurt anyone, or has it? Dun dun dun. Well, another way to put it... Nah. I don't really have a sound for this. I should probably add a few. But yeah, so I guess... I mean, we have under 10 minutes left. So... Okay, so that's the green exit, that's Gaia. That's the orange exit. So I guess the orange exit is west.
I've seen this before.
She mumbles to herself while practicing. Cool. Oh, what's this back here? That's the same thing she is seeing. Don't know if that's just a bug.
Ah, there it is.
Okay, I wonder if we will, where we will get the parts for the override. Oh, no.
I wonder how much snow is gonna pile up.
That's the rebel outpost. And that's Plainsong itself. Let's maybe go to Plainsong first. See if there are any broken robots there. Ancient cars and buses may contain valuable loot. Ooh, looking forward to that. Upgrade your weapons at workbenches to increase their damage output and unlock new ammo types, perks, and coil slots. So let's see how that looks here. There are a bunch of new quests here. So this, depending on the levels of these quests, that might be the next thing.
Is something wrong? Sounds like someone's in trouble.
It's Jax. You heard some rumor about Tanakh loitering around where they're not supposed to be. Took off south for Stone's Echo the next day to find him. Damn fool.
Who is this Jax, exactly?
My friend. Ain't it obvious? Bit younger than me, can still move without every bone creaking. Knows his way around a bow, too. Good company to share a drink with. When there's sweet sap to drink anyway. But I told him, stick your hand in bramble and you're bound to catch a fist of thorns.
Maybe I should find this guy. Stone's Echo, he said?
That's right. If you don't mind me, these roots aren't gonna dig themselves.
Alright.
So I went to the hunting grounds to train, but the village is being bossed around by
So finally we can get the quests. Hello? "34 meters, 120. I think they're above us still. I haven't really walked around up there. Oh, what's this?
Get this from my stash when I need it.
Let's see, where are... Yeah, that is apparently upstairs. So let's go in there and find out what else we can grab. But I love this. It's a beautiful setting, and it's cool like how they're basically using satellite dishes as flowers. That's a fun idea. Wait, what's this? Oh, you're the rumor person. Do you have a new rumor? Hello?
A word of warning. Avoid the ruins northwest of Plainsong. Scouts say something lights up the ruins when night comes. Whatever it is, it's not natural.
Good to know.
Ooh.
Something lighting up the ruins. Could be old world tech. Might be worth taking a look.
Come on. All right. Okay.
All's well. I went to the hunting grounds to train, but the village is being bossed.
more.
All's well, said the water digger.
Some village is being bossed around by a Tanakh. You can't send people. Not today.
Some nice conversations.
May the land bloom.
Did you hear about the skirmish at Barren Light?
That's a bit of an skirmish. You mean bloodbath? You wish I had half your skill with the bow. Then keep practicing.
Oh, there's even a child here.
The child, Dre, was bold and strong.
I understand your concern.
And
Your
her mind
understanding
was full of questions.
won't keep us from starting.
Often she went to the old woman, longest serving in the chorus, who would look up from her tea and smile. Today, Dre asked, where does the world begin? And where does it end? I know you, child, said the old woman.
And since
no
you
answer of mine
to
will
send out
satisfy
more
you.
hunters, it is too
So
dangerous
you must go out in the world.
Did you see
and
Ven's
search.
injuries?
Find its beginning and its end. And when you do, come back to me with your answer. Dre laughed as she ran from home, for she wanted nothing more than to explore the boundaries of the world. First, she went to the fields and whispered her questions to the land gods.
Please,
but they hummed their busy song and went about their work. For though they had plowed the soil for as long as anyone could remember, they did not know where the world ended or began. Then Dre crossed the plains and whispered her questions to the tall neck, but it shook its mighty head. From its height, it could see all the way to the horizon, but it did not know where the world ended or began.
Children
Dre came to the banks of the river and whispered her questions to a snapmaw, but it only clicked its teeth. For though it had swum all the way to the sea, it did not know where the world ended or began. Finally, Dre climbed the mountains and whispered her questions to the Glinthawks, but they only cawed to the wind. For though they had flown all across the land, they did not know where the world ended or began.
Did you see Ven's injuries?
At last, Dre returned to Plainsong and sat before the old woman, who smiled as she looked up from her tea. I could not find the beginning of the world, the girl said, and I could not find its end. The old woman nodded, saying, for the world is as the cycle. It does not begin. It does not end.
From the hunters, what hope do
on
we
and
have?
on it goes, living and dying, and turning back
small,
again.
We will find
Dre's eyes grew wider, and the old woman was satisfied, for she knew the seed of wisdom had been planted. And like all seeds, it grew and grew. Many, many years later, Dre herself became longest serving in the chorus.
At this rate,
The child by,
we'll have nothing
bold and
by month's
strong,
end.
came before
I understand
her,
your concern.
a
Your
question on his
understanding
mind.
won't keep us from
The old
starting.
woman looked up from her tea and smiled.
Nice.
Please, one more search. Let this go.
What's going on here? Sounds like there's a problem.
We're speaking about something important, Outlander.
Yul, please. Later. A reminder of why I often prefer plants to people. They're so much less demanding. I apologize for Yul. My people used to be friendlier, but hunger robs many of their kindness. Seems like there's a lot around here in short supply. Is there anything that can help? As Yul said, we need food. So much so that we've sent hunting parties to the Old Growth, a forest in the north. We never used to hunt animals for food. We never had to. But as our crops fail, we've run out of options. But something else went wrong. A machine slaughtered the last hunting party we sent out. A Clostridor. But to hear the lone survivor tell it, more deadly than any we've seen before. Until it's gone, I can't risk more hunters, but without that meat, our people grow more lean every day. I saw you up there when I spoke in front of the chorus. Yes. I'm sorry I couldn't do more to help you, and especially Zoe. Many Utaru like to think we're above politics, but that is far from true. I don't often agree with Fane, but I have to work closely with him on many matters. So you didn't want to cross him? Not in such a public way, no. I hope you don't hold it against me. What's done is done. It all turned out in the end. Without more food, how much longer can the tribe hold out?
The land gods blight the fields more every day. A month, maybe 2. The maddening part is that many are resigned to this fate. Like Fane, who would have us simply wait to die. You heard him. Death is merely part of the grand cycle.
But you'd rather do something.
Yes, like send hunters to the old growth for food. Fane fought that idea too. He will undoubtedly cast what happened to the hunting party as another reason to side with him.
If we let him. Tell me everything you know about the machine that attacked your hunters.
It fell upon them near the edge of the old growth. One of them, Ven, survived and made it back to Plainsong. If you wish to question him, he's recovering with our healers. The other 4 hunters weren't so fortunate. It must be a powerful beast. Can you destroy it?
I've handled tough ones before.
Good. The old growth must be made safe for hunting. One more thing. Every Utaru wears a small patch of seeds, given at birth, planted at death. It is how we remember our loved ones and celebrate their place in the cycle. It would mean a great deal to the hunters' families if you could recover them.
I'll do what I can.
I know you will. Be careful in the forest.
Before I head for the old growth, I might want to talk to the survivor. See what he can tell me about the Clawstrider.
The child, Dre, was bold and strong, and her mind was full of questions.
That's a nice little idea. We've heard the phrase before when Zoe said
from the hunting party.
That she planted the seeds of people, but I didn't think it would be literal. I thought it was more a metaphor.
What's going on here?
You're the one who spoke before the chorus. Maybe you can help.
This is not your concern, Outlander. Have we not tolerated enough of your intrusions?
I think you can handle one more. What is it?
My wife, Kalai. She was to join the chorus. She went up to the promontory to perform the rite of discovery, but she must have fallen. And now they are abandoning the search.
We have done enough, Bree. The search party found nothing but her instrument broken beside the riverbed.
And atop the promontory was only the dye she used for the ritual. We will not ask more of our people to risk their lives because of one woman's stubbornness.
But the seed she carried deserved to be planted and remembered. I heard how you helped the land god Ray. How you saw what no one else could. Please, will you look for her seed pouch?
False hope is a creeping vine.
How was Kalai chosen to join the chorus?
The chorus chooses its own, but they can't do so in isolation. They must listen to the people. Kalai was a growing voice for new ideas instead of old traditions, and her beliefs were catching on.
We cannot deafen ourselves to dissonance, unpleasant though it might be.
So you had to admit Kalai, or risk legitimizing her ideas even more.
The Outlander catches on quick.
The rite of discovery. What is it exactly?
It's a pilgrimage to the promontory. The place where the first Utaru beheld Plainsong. Kalai was to follow the path our ancestors took. Mark her eyes with dye and then play her song while overlooking the land. She then would have added her mark on the promontory itself, joining the marks of those who came before. Every new chorus member used to make the journey. But because of the derangement, the practice has been abandoned. Too dangerous. No one's done it for years.
Then why did she do it?
We all urged her not to. But, as was her way, she ignored our warnings.
She thought it would lend strength to her point of view. She needed to prove that she respected the old ways, even as she advocated against them. Then maybe more people would listen.
What were Kalai's political beliefs?
Radical. You would have gotten along.
Plainsong is dying. But Kalai believed we don't have to die with it. As the wind carries the seed to distant lands. She proposed that the Utaru leave Plainsong and seek out a new home.
We are bound to this land. A tree cannot pick up its roots, even as fire approaches.
But you're not trees.
It doesn't matter now.
Kalai was carrying a pouch of seeds?
Every Utaro keeps one. We choose the seeds at a young age, taken from the plants of our forebears or those of other significance. And when one passes, their seeds are returned to the land that nourished them, so that life may spring again. Which is why I want Kalai's pouch. Her seeds deserve to be planted in Plainsong.
The river will carry the seeds to new soil, where they will take root and flower.
But they won't be at home.
It's the best we can hope for.
If I'm out that way, I can take a look around.
Thank you. The promontory is northeast of here. Look for the broken bridge at the bottom of the cliffs, right at the promontory's base. That's where the search party found her instrument.
Okay. That all right with you?
How you waste your time is not my concern.
Searching for what the land has already reclaimed is fruitless.
May you walk in the fields of plenty.
Okay, where's the next one? Over there somewhere? That looks promising.
Aloy, good to see you again. Aloy, wasn't sure you'd ever come around. What do you think of Plainsong?
It's quite a place.
Sure, as long as you like the smell of manure. Don't mind me. I won't go wandering again, I promise. There are people who need me here. Some of the others the Eclipse took had it worse than me. A lot worse.
Do what you can for them, Yev.
I will. Won't be anything like you did, but I'll give it my best.
The land reclaims everything.
Okay.
Aloy, you cage.
Ah, that's the cook.
Aloy, I wanted to thank you again for saving my life out there. I know we don't have much, but I promise my rations will help keep your strength up in the wilds.
It's like, it feels weird getting food from someone who is in a famine. Land God's gift. Needs deep water kindleweed oil. Ah, okay, that plant. Wheat slice salad. Well, I guess I can buy a few just so I have something. So a lot of them want that oil.
I hope you know there'll always be a warm meal waiting for you here, Aloy.
Thank you, Dane.
Making more of that rancid brew they keep trying to sell us. Nora, I heard what you did for Ray.
Please, hear me out. My people need your help. Please! The chorus won't meet with me. I don't know what else to do.
How about you just start by telling me what's wrong?
I'm from Riverhem, to the north. A few days back, I woke to the screams of my neighbors as Tanakh's rebels attacked. They were just scouts, but we barely drove them off. If a full raiding party comes next, we're not fighters. We're done for. I thought the chorus would help us. I thought we all sprouted from the same earth, but it seems an Outlander is the only one who'll even listen to me. Would it be too much to hope that you'd stand with us in this fight?
Regala's rebels. Do you know why they're attacking you?
You're asking why the sun sets at night. They are Tanakhs. They live to fight. As usual, among themselves. But this time my village is caught in the middle.
The rebels want to strip it of supplies to feed their campaign against the Western clans.
If they're not attacking here, can't you retreat to Plainsong?
An outlander might find it difficult to understand. All Utaru carry seeds that are planted when we pass. My people have planted many seeds in Riverhymn's Grove, a gift from the Buried Years, which I believe outlanders call the Red Raids. We'll never leave. We sacrificed too much. The Chorus are supposed to speak for all Utaru, and normally I wouldn't question them, but they see outlying settlements like Riverhymn as lost lands, no longer under Plainsong's protection. They won't even meet with me to discuss it.
If I find myself up north, I'll check in on your people.
I ask nothing more. When you reach the village, look for Q. He's heading up our defenses.
Alright. How are we quest-wise now? Have we mopped everything up? Yep, it looks like... there's something unknown here. Where does it want me to go?
Hey, I'm just getting some rations ready. Do you need food?
The cook idea in general is good, but he as a cook is out of place story-wise right now. Especially with his call-outs. Hey, I'm just getting some rations ready. Do you need food? Like, people are starving here.
Greetings. Machines did stop pouring out of the sacred.
Good hunting, Outlander.
No. Oh, not sure if that was the right way. Oh, it's up there. So I guess I should have stayed inside. Yeah, I guess.
May the land bloom in your steps.
Well now.
Good day. Outland.
Is this the right way? Not sure.
If you want to improve your next hunt, let's trade.
This is a pleasant surprise. Did you hear? May your love... Is she the one that sued Gray? That's a big jump.
That's cool that they actually added that as a general phrase. Like, if you jump somewhere, that someone notices it. I thought that was just for that jump puzzle. But that's actually a cool detail.
How many people can you send to complete that work?
Doing better than yesterday, I hope.
Not today.
Not in the mood.
Okay, looks like we're on the right way.
Hold your pace.
Okay, that's the potion person. I don't think the herbalist has anything that we could use right now. I guess we could sell stuff. All right.
Fair trade.
Then I guess
Careful, Outlander.
we found everything here. Old growth. Talk to the survivor. Yeah, okay. So okay, that's all. Yeah, of course, that's main quest. So I think that's it. We have a rebel outpost for next time, which I think is the lowest level quest we can take care of right now. And what were the other missions? Errands. Old growth was the one errand, and these ones, they're all 15 and 17. Yeah. Okay. So then we're done for this week. I hope you will be back for more Horizon the Forbidden West next Monday, again at 7 a.m. CET or 10 p.m. PST on Monday in that time zone. Otherwise, we have a stream on Sunday again where I will be happily programming around. So hopefully see you then. That will be at 5 p.m. Central European Time or 8 a.m. PST. Yes. So maybe see some of you then. And I'm really looking forward to how this will be developing. Like the idea that they're part of the Far Zenith project is pretty nice, actually. Not quite... As I said, I would have been happy if there had been more of a hint that there was some mystery about this failure. But this will do, I guess. Alright. Have a great weekend and see you hopefully soon. Bye bye.